Right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's live stream with PKT, Akash, and Chandra Station. My name is Adam Wozni, and I head up community at Akash. I'll also be your host for today's conversation. Our guests for today's live stream are Caleb Delisle, Colin Lowenberg, Jesse Berger, Josh Berger, and someone who many of you already know, Chalabi. If you have questions throughout today's event, feel free to ask them in the comments section, and I'll do my best to get to as many of them as I can at the end of our conversation. One other quick note, after this event is over, be sure to join the Akash community forum at forum.akash.network, and also be sure to join our Discord channel to keep this conversation going. So before we get into today's conversation, I wanted to introduce our guests. So first up, someone who many of you may already know, Colin Lowenberg, Partnerships Lead at Akash. So hey there, Colin. I was hoping you could give our attendees a quick introduction and then maybe talk a little bit about Akash.
Hi, everyone. I'm Colin Lowenberg. I am the lead for partnerships and integrations at Akash. I've been doing a lot of mining of PKT and testing. So if you read our blog about PKT, you can see our results on our forum.akash.network. If you're not familiar with Akash, a quick introduction is that Akash is a marketplace for compute. And what that means is we are competing with Amazon web services to provide cloud hosting, but we have a chief advantage, which is we are crypto friendly and we are decentralized. And so we allow people to host host any Docker image that's available on the Akash cloud using our command line utility or our desktop UIs that are available. So we try to make it as easy as possible to deploy a packet miner on Akash. And I'm excited to bring in the entire community and bring in the folks that have been trying to mine on their home machines and bring them into the cloud and do it in a way that's decentralized and allows people to not be relying on cloud giant companies like Amazon to host their servers.
Cool. Thank you, Colin. Next up, we have Caleb Delisle, who is the author of Packet Crypt. Same to you, Caleb. I was wondering if you could introduce yourself to folks attending and talk a little bit about Packet Crypt.
Yeah, so I've been in the space for about 10 years, mesh networking and encryption technology, and I created the packet crypt algorithm. So I think if we're going to talk about the packet crypt algorithm, then I would be probably the one to answer the questions. This is the world's first bandwidth hard proof of work, and that distinguishes itself from a lot of other proof of something or other because this is actual decentralized cryptographic mining algorithm as opposed to something where you have a central verifier. But anyway, I won't get into the details just yet. You can ask the questions and we'll take it from there.
Cool. Thank you, Caleb. And yeah, definitely keep those questions coming. I see everyone saying hello to us. Welcome everyone joining from around the world. Maybe it's something we don't do. If you could put in where you guys are maybe tuning in from, I'd be kind of curious. Go ahead and add that into the comment section. Next up, I want to introduce Josh and Jesse Berger, both founding PKT community members and founders of PacketPal. So hey there, guys. Same question to you guys. Maybe quickly introducing yourselves, and then maybe talk a little bit about your involvement in PKT. Let's go to Josh first.
Yeah, how you doing? Thanks for having us on here. Yeah, well, we got involved with Caleb, who had created CJDNS, which was a pretty interesting novel tech around mesh networking. And we partnered up and created Packet. And so with Packet being released, we wanted to really turn on a turnkey solution where everybody could participate. And we started one of the first businesses on Packet, leveraging the open source technology called PacketPal. And it creates turnkey solutions so that the masses can participate in building out the Packet network.
Cool, thank you. And Jess, sorry.
Yeah, Jesse. Yeah, my name's Jesse Berger. Happy to be here. This is a really exciting time to be, collaborating with Akash. I've been working with Caleb and Josh for the better part of 4 years. we came together to bring this technology out, and really excited to share that with everyone. The idea is decentralizing access to the internet. We just have a internet that's highly centralized around internet service providers, whereas the internet's obviously decentralized. It's very difficult for a lot of people to get to the internet. And so the essence of this technology is allowing people to actually monetize the internet they already have, and that being the basis for changing the way people can actually get on the internet. So we can talk more about that today, but that is the essence of it. And then this relationship with Akash is really exciting because it's actually bringing in a whole new community to the project, and the infrastructure that Akash has built is highly useful within the Packet ecosystem. So again, we'll talk more about that, but happy to be here.
Cool. Thank you guys so much. And then finally, we have the GOAT, the man, the myth, and the legend, Chalabi from Chandra Station. Hey, Chalabi, for folks that don't know you on the live streamer today, maybe quick introduce yourself and talk a little bit about Chandra Station.
Yeah, I'm Chalabi, co-founder of Chandra Station. We are a proof of stake validator node, and we operate on multiple different Cosmos networks. Really excited about mining PKT using AKT, 2 KTs. It's really exciting. We helped contribute on the deployment file and setting up the miner on Akash. And yeah, I'm just happy to be here, speak with the legends.
The legends, love it. Cool. So thank you guys for those introductions. As a reminder, if you do have questions throughout the conversation today, leave them in the chat, and I'll get to as many of them as I can at the end of our conversation today. So I wanted to kind of kick things off at a pretty high level, and maybe mainly focus the folks from PKT, but feel free to jump in, everybody. For folks that don't know, what is PKT and where do you see the project going?
Well, I think from a very technical perspective, PKT is a blockchain. It's similar to Bitcoin in the way that it's a completely decentralized blockchain. There's no founders, no venture capitalists, no CEO that just makes the decisions. It's very much in the spirit of a Bitcoin or a Litecoin style blockchain. So in fact, this whole integration that was done here, people were saying, oh, congratulations on the partnership, and well, actually it's not a partnership, because this is Akash deciding that they're going to support the blockchain of PKT. So what is PKT? Well, it's the world's first blockchain that's based on the bandwidth hard proof of work of PacketCrypt. But above that, where is PKT going? And that's where we're interested in taking this project in the direction of building a decentralized bandwidth marketplace. And that's kind of like what Akash is doing to the concept of cloud compute, where it's like decentralizing Amazon and making that something everybody can participate and own a piece of it. What PKT is aiming to do is to decentralize Comcast, or decentralize those big sometimes monopoly ISPs, and then everybody can own a piece and operate a piece of that. And it's a very complicated thing. New routing protocols need to be created. New ways of creating and tokenizing bandwidth need to be created. So there's a lot to it, a lot of moving parts. I'm not going to say we're done. It's a participatory project, and everybody comes in and works together to achieve this goal.
And just to bring it little higher level out of the technical side of it, the essence of it is there's a lot of unused capacity in the world, as you guys know, at Akash, and there's a lot of, and most people that have the internet are using a fraction of the internet that they have, and if you don't use it, it gets burned and lost into the world. And so what Packet is doing at the essence is allowing people to monetize that unused internet, and by being paid for their unused internet, they are actually building out this network and creating a network effect. And so it kind of gives the power back to the people to be able to create this new way of accessing internet and having a new relationship with the internet that they already have.
It's interesting that you mentioned that Packet is taking on the big ISPs and trying to bring the power back to the people, and it's very similar to Akash in that way. We're both trying to decentralize the internet and come up with a better, more fair, and more decentralized infrastructure for the web and for the internet itself. And Packet is working on the bandwidth side, and Akash is working on the compute side. So we are, just as Packet is trying to make use of all the unused bandwidth that people are paying for bandwidth to their homes, but not actually leveraging, Akash is helping people make use of unused capacity in data centers and servers, because right now what we have these big cloud giants charging a lot of money for services that are actually quite available, and there's a lot of smaller resources out there that could be made use of, and the cost to host your server should be far less based on the market demand and the market supply. So it's interesting that both of our projects are trying to decentralize and give power back to the people, essentially.
And there's an interesting factor there too, which is by virtue of Packet emerging and people being able to participate in it, we noticed that the community was seeking out, high-powered servers. That was really where people went. They went to these major cloud providers. They were trying to find the most efficient, high-powered, CPU mining devices. They were deploying massive amounts of infrastructure in various cloud providers around the world. And we actually noticed a friction point, which is, A, finding effectively priced equipment, and then B, finding crypto-friendly cloud providers. And it's been pretty amazing to see, A, how many people are participating in the Packet ecosystem, but B, just how inventive everyone's been to build out the infrastructure. And so when the opportunity came with Akash, it was just so perfect because you guys are aggregating the exact infrastructure that is needed to support the Packet ecosystem. So pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually a funny story. We had our first ISP come and shut us down over at Hetzner. We were doing some major mining on the Hetzner infrastructure, and they literally blocked the IP addresses to all of the Packet pools. So when they're starting to change their infrastructure because of us, it means that we're making a pretty big dent. So exciting times to get your first ISP to come and try and shut you down.
And we're not too far from from the cloud service providers as well, shutting people down. We've definitely heard of customers who have had to be kicked off of Amazon or blocked indefinitely, suspended. So it's definitely becoming more and more common to see the terms and conditions of cloud providers not being respected or just simply being modified on the fly to change at will. So
in the example Josh gave, they actually changed their terms of service on the fly to kind of, so there's nothing anyone was doing that was not appropriate at the time. They just literally changed the terms of service and then took those.
And of course, that's their right? It's their business. They can decide what their terms and conditions are, but it's not the nicest thing to do to your customers. So I think that's why having a multi-cloud architecture for any application. So if you haven't heard of the word multi-cloud, the concept is you shouldn't trust any one cloud provider, right? You should never be relying on a single point of failure. So we've seen a lot of issues, or not issues necessarily, but we see a big risk right now in the DeFi space and in the crypto space, where a lot of the cryptocurrency miners, as well as the validators for proof of stake, are actually running all of their servers on Amazon or all of their servers on Google. And so as much as they are all about decentralization, they end up running all of their servers, all of their software on servers owned by a single company. So they really create a point of failure there. And so this is also about being more robust. It's not just people ask what is decentralization? Why is that important? But robustness is an important thing, right? You shouldn't be able to be taken down by just one single company saying, "Oh, sorry, we're going to block all of your IP addresses or your domain names," right?
Yeah, and we got to see the community get very innovative, which was exciting. And it's similar to Bitcoin, when difficulty started running, people got really creative on how to get the cheapest power and move into Iceland and things of that nature. And so I'm not saying we're at Bitcoin's status yet, but we got to watch the community get innovative, and it also is really exciting to be able to introduce this to Akash and for you guys to jump on board for it, because it really does. If you want to change something, you need a community to back it, and you need multiple different projects coming at it from different angles to be able to actually accomplish anything. And so, with Packet, a lot of people talk about like, who are your competitors? And there's other people in the space. And it's like, please, we need people in the space, because the more people that are chipping away at a broken model, the more likely it is for things to actually change.
Something I think is significant about the packet crypt algorithm is that it's a complicated thing, and a lot of the thinking of proof of work projects in the past has been, let's make it as simple as possible so that it's a very simple algorithm. You put more electricity in and you get more coins out, and that's it. It's just electricity for coins. And in Packet, because it's a bandwidth hard proof of work, it's very complicated. And when you look at actual like mining of ore, the old gold miners, the gold rush, and these things, it was complicated. You had people like looking for things, and they might find a claim, and they find something, and they're telling people, and they're putting together a group of people to try to exploit that claim. And I see that in Packet Crypt, the design being as it is, it's complicated. It's something that has rewarded a lot of innovation and a lot of innovative thinking, and people trying to find like, where can I get the cheap bandwidth, the big pipes to bring all the traffic into this location, and then how can I optimize the way that these mining servers are working. And so it's been really interesting in the level of innovation that is propped up. And some people ask like, why crypto mining? What's the point? You're wasting. But what I see happening coming from this is a lot of, not only it creates this artificial demand for bandwidth, but it also it kind of builds this mining town, and this group of people who are organized around this common vision, and actually like making money and doing things and exchanging value with each other. And that's what we need in order to achieve our actual goal.
Right. So I think you just touched on a point I wanted to kind of get into was, the economic opportunities of mining PKT. How do you guys exactly kind of like, calculate profitability for PKT miners? Like, how does that all kind of work for you guys?
Yeah, so I mean, it's relatively simple. If you're doing announcement mining, so mining is broken into two pieces. There's the announcement mining where you generate data, and then you send the data to the block miners, and they're the ones who use that data to make packet blocks. So announcement mining is the one that's more accessible to the average person. Then the block mining is something that's more professional, and what we're doing with Akash at this point is the announcement mining. Now, the economic story of this is, well, what is your server cost and what are you getting paid? And what you're getting paid depends on what the pools are paying, how much they're making, because they're just paying you for your announcements. So you need to test. This is one case where you can't really make a simulator. You can't do a calculator that will just tell you. You need to fire something up and do a little bit of mining and find out. And you gotta go prospect that riverbed and see if there's actually gold in it. You can't just theorize whether there's gold. So anyway, then the economics of mining in general is, over time, every 100 days, the amount of packet being issued drops by 10%, and that's the decay curve of all cryptocurrencies. And then we have the then you have how many people are mining. So in general, I always recommend to people two things. Number one is do your mining now. What you mine now, if you're thinking you're going to mine later, well, other people are going to be mining later, and then you're going to be competing with more and more people, and you're competing with more people, and you're still only getting the same amount of packet. So mine now. And the other thing I say is always be in the game, because if you're if you're in the game, there might be a problem with a pool, there might be something shifts, somebody shuts down, whatever happens, and then just by being in the game, you're able to potentially pick up a lot of packet in one of those great moments.
Yeah, we've basically seen this happen through time, where there's people mining, and there could be either miner capitulation, there could be a pool that ramps up that you're mining into that starts really paying great rewards out to its miners. And so you'll see variation in your performance, basically your mining yields on a daily basis. And it's actually pretty cool. The block explorer for Packet does show your 24-hour yields, and a lot of people are mining that. There's actually a really cool tool that was created by a community member that allows you to actually determine how much you're mining from each individual pool, so you can see which pool is rewarding you higher. And there's different things that you can do to improve your yields. A lot of people are testing different types of CPU. We found that different equipment is working better than other equipment. And so people in the community are constantly talking about which processors are more powerful. So there's just a lot of almost gamification that goes into it. And yeah, just by being there 24/7 means that you'll take advantage of moments in time where yields are up.
Yeah, and the yields will never be as good now ever again. So as the decay happens, as each decimation, which is every 100 days, the 10% coin supply decrease is called a decimation. And so that happens every 100 days, more people come in. So really, if anyone's asking when's the best time to mine Packet, the answer is always in this 60-second block is your best chance. And also, people drop off. And so if you're not there to capture that value when people can't, afford to keep their mining operation up, or they move, or they get shut down, then you miss out on the opportunity of being able to maximize your Packet yields. And it was actually really interesting to watch this happen over the last, today is the 2-year birthday of Packet, which is actually pretty exciting day for the ecosystem. So happy birthday, Packet. But yeah, I remember back when we started this thing, and the coin was trading at 1/10 of a penny, and people were earning a lot of coins, but they just weren't worth very much. And so watching that growth, and some of these people that had started with just really low powered miners, and to watch the price of that, the value of that coin really increase, is super exciting to be able to see. And to the people who are just learning about Packet actually isn't even listed yet. It's not on a centralized exchange. It's only being traded in an OTC private Telegram chat that you can find on the PKT.cash website. So this is all still super early, and it's even pre-listing, and we're close to a listing as we speak. But there's just never a better time than now to get involved.
I mean, it reminds me of all of the wind moon days of crypto, when people didn't necessarily take crypto seriously, and Bitcoin was still being given away as prizes in hackathons and gaming competitions. And we're definitely in the early days for this, both for Akash and Packet, in my opinion. and I think you guys were talking a little bit about profitability, and you can't necessarily expect any specific return, but we have done some prospecting on Akash, and I did a lot of testing over the last week or so with different configurations across Akash, and actually it was a moment of a lot of sort of confirmation with the community. I posted on our forum.akash.network with my results. I was getting up to 6 PKT per day with a 10 CPU server on Akash. So that effectively was giving me around 100% return on my quote investment. So I was getting a profit margin of 50%, or basically for every every dollar I put in, I was getting $2 out. And I think the numbers fluctuate though. So I was interesting to see that change. So 6-packet server, then yesterday it was only doing 5 PKT per day. And so I actually went and tested 8 cores instead of 10 cores. And I'm still finding out some things. So I'm still doing more testing and finding out what the right configuration is. But it seems like the more cores you put on the task, the more PKT you're going to get. But also, Akash lets me easily scale up. So if I want to run 10 miners, I just literally change my configuration and I can run 10 miners all at the same time. And I think that's a key thing, is also that ease of use. Sorry, someone asked a question. I didn't mean it was 6 PKT per day. It was
per hour, right?
It was per hour. I didn't mean 6
Yeah.
PKT per day. I meant 6 PKT per hour. Sorry about that. So I was getting up around 140 PKT per day. So it was a little bit less than 6 PKT per hour, like 5.9. And so with 140 PKT per day, I essentially was making a profit, a healthy profit, even as the Akash price came up. Obviously, as Akash's price goes up, that amount of profit kind of goes down because my costs are higher if AKT goes up, and if PKT goes up, then my profit, my income is higher. So it is very dependent on the price that I am going to sell the PKT for and the price that I'm going to pay for my AKT. So you have to kind of think about that as well. Like, no matter what you put it, like, I can tell you, hey, Akash is going to give you a good high performance server that's going to outperform AWS. It's going to give you up to 140 PKT per day with 10 cores. But you still have to make sure that you pay what you're paying for AKT and what you're selling PKT for to determine what your profit actually is. So, of course, you could also be a hodler and not think about that PKT price. If you think about it as a long-term hold, either AKT and PKT can both. I can't comment on where the token price is going to go. No one can tell you that. So you're also trading in those different currencies as well. So I think that's an important aspect. Is like, hey, you can get good performance out of Akash, but you also have to decide, am I going to hold PKT or hold AKT? So you're converting your AKTs into PKTs by doing this mining. So
I think one of the things that's really been a validation in the packet ecosystem is actually on this last market dip, where our dear friend Elon Musk just crashed a $500 billion out of the market. But we watched the price of packet retreat from some of its highs back, in the May-June period. And the miners really held the line at their cost to mine the coin. And, even while people were bidding, obviously as low as they can, it just never went below, the cost to mine. And there is some variation in the cost to mine. Like, some people can have a really expensive server. If you're mining on AWS, you're obviously not being as cost efficient as if you source out the highest power, lowest price equipment around the world. And some people have really found that. But the reality with price is that people really didn't want to part with their packet for less than it costs for them to mint it. And so that was a great validation. I think as we were just talking about, there's market effects within Packet. The more people that are mining, the yields do go down. So because there is a limited amount that is available on a per minute, and that has a decay every 100 days. So as where Bitcoin is every 4 years, Packet's every 100 days, you see that decrease. And as more people are coming into the ecosystem and the yields are going down every 100 days, so it does make sense to really hold Packet within those periods of time. And as the cost to mine Packet goes up, right, the people who mine today are going to see that price appreciation just naturally. So those were great validations and just things that people can look towards as they are mining or using AKT infrastructure to accumulate Packet coins. If you're just looking to sell them for a daily profit, obviously you have these natural fluctuations in the currency prices between Packet and AKT. But if you kind of look down at the calendar and look ahead, you should see those the floor to going up over time.
Something that this is a little bit a different topic, but I was thinking about it, is that the Packet crypt algorithm, the actual CPU usage, because we can't just do bandwidth. We can't. That doesn't work as a proof of work algorithm. There needs to be some compute involved, but the compute itself is actually based on the computation that you would need to do in order to encrypt data for VPN purposes. Me being my background of CJDNS, is that when I built that proof of work, I decided to take the encryption that CJDNS does and then copy that same encryption operation into the proof of work. So if you can figure out ways, as technical people, to make the encryption of data happen more efficiently, then you're able to find ways to mine a little bit of extra Packet, and that's something that the community is really focused on and doing clever things. And I think that that's actually a good thing, because we get back to this sort of technical tinkering and these aspects. And the other thing that's really exciting is that in the Packet ecosystem, we have multiple businesses, and there's a lot of hiring going on, R&D hiring, and there is this entity called the Network Steward, which is a part of the blockchain itself, which funds with 20% of every block mine. It goes into a pool of coins that can be used to fund research and development activities for open source software to benefit the Packet and greater mesh networking community. So if you're a software developer, researcher, this kind of person, we really want to welcome you into the Packet ecosystem and find ways for you to be able to do what you love to do full time.
I want to show off what my mining equipment looks like on Akash, kind of, just so that people can see, maybe visualize what we're talking about a little bit. So I kind of want to share my miners on Akash, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Can we share my screen? Can you guys see my screen? So right now I'm just doing testing on just 3 deployments, but I've scaled it up to 30 deployments, and I can scale it down, and I'll actually do that right here on this call. But essentially, I've got a 4-core server, an 8-core server, and 10-core server, and I can go in here and I can say, okay, I want to look at my 10-core server, and I can see the amount in here of how much AKT I've spent on the server. So I can also see my approximate cost per month. And so at $3, this is going to be like a $60 a month server. And so far I've spent only, something like, what is that? Almost $3. So AKT is around $3 right now. So I've spent about 80% of $3. So that's not too bad. So maybe $2.50, $2, something like that, $2.40. And you can see right below that I've also got the detailed price right here. So this is the price that I've struck my lease with on Akash. and you can see which provider I'm on. Now, there's not a lot of information in this UI that tells you about that provider, but essentially there are many different providers, and there's a provider address. So when you strike a lease, you actually select that provider. And now I can actually go in and actually see the configuration of my miner right here. And I can see this is the Akash configuration right here. So I can see which packet pools I'm pointing to. So very quickly, I can, if I want, I can go and change this. So I'm actually using Chandra Station's image. So thank you, Chalabi from Chandra Station. So we're using the image that they're hosting on, I believe, on GitHub. And then this is my wallet address, which I'll show you what's in my wallet if you guys want. And then you can see the packet pools right here. Now also I can set my CPU resources in here. So if I wanted to, and I feel like 8 core miners are a little bit better price to performance ratio, I could change my settings here. I could change my memory and storage, and I can also go and change my count of miners. So if I wanted to scale this up, I just put 10 or 100, and it's going to obviously reprice that to 100 or 10 times the amount. So it's a relatively easy to use interface. And I'll go ahead and just deploy one right here while I'm on the screen. You know, it's always fun to do a demo while you're live. So just click deployments, create a deployment, wait for that. Looks like I've got a wallet balance. I've got a certificate on the blockchain, a valid local certificate. So everything checks out on my Akash wallet. Now I'm going to say, rather than do any of these built-in games that you can run, I'm going to do an empty template, and in the empty template, I'm going to copy and paste that manifest that I had from my other miner. So in this time, I'm going to select a different wallet. So I'm just going to go and generate a new wallet for this, because that's what I like to do. I like to have different wallets and then sweep them. So I'm going to put in a new wallet address here. And do you guys like my pool? Do you guys think I should rearrange some of these? Is there a better?
Yeah, there's, look, there's variations in yields based on which pool is performing the highest. And sometimes the different order that you list the pools can yield different results. Right now, putting Sazirbi first has been the most, lucrative. I would put Packet Pool second and Packet World third. That's just been like the highest yielding I've seen right now. And then, and you can run that. Some of these pools can't handle all the inbound traffic, or if a pool's not able to accept the inbound traffic on that specific block, then you might get a message, looks like an error message, but generally that doesn't have any effect to your yields. It'll just send the announcement, until it gets picked up by the pool. And there is a kind of aging of the announcement, 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. So you'll see various different things coming through on the terminal, but yeah, this has been a good configuration right now.
Yeah, a lot of people have been messaging me, asking me about those quote unquote errors that they receive in the terminal. Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, it's just, it doesn't affect your yields. You're just firing off so many announcements and so much traffic at these pools, and some of them just can't handle all that traffic every single second of every single day. And so they'll basically put those announcements in a queue, and they'll either be accepted or they'll decay out of the acceptance period. But you're continuously sending that traffic, and so it doesn't actually affect your yields.
You may also wish to reduce your thread count, and that can also give you a hint as to whether it's something on your side or something on the pool's side. Maybe you're lacking the bandwidth in order to send that amount of traffic.
I see.
Cool.
Let me finish my So thanks for actually answering that, because I actually, as much as I know about Akash and PKT, I don't understand that. So now I understand it like 10 times better. So I appreciate you guys just explaining that for once. I think that was probably on a forum post somewhere, but it's really good to hear it in person. And so also note in here, you can set your CPU and usage. Some people have made mistake and taken out the sign by Akash right here. So what this minor attribute right here called sign by actually restricts you from using any server that's not signed by Akash Network. Now you're welcome to. You don't need to do that. You can find all sorts of compute on the Akash Network. There are a lot of other providers out there, but I would recommend for the first time miner to continue using the sign by attribute. What this does is it limits the bids that you get to be only from servers signed by Akash. That means we audited those data centers and we made sure that they are high performant and secure.
I have a question for the miners. So for the packet miners who are interested in getting into Akash, what's the story? I mean, like, is all the capacity? Because I mean, if the capacity's there and it's worth it for a miner, they're just going to grab it all. So what's it going to look like when some of these people who are probably watching this live stream now start to grab up this capacity? Are they able to grab the leases? Can they hold on to those leases once they have them? Does the price rise over time? Is there a way to lock something in?
So a lease is like just like a lease you would on your house. If you're renting, you're signing a lease, and that price does not change. I know in some cities the leases can change and they can raise the prices. The price does not get changed. So once you sign a lease, essentially you have that price locked in. So it is ideal to go and lock in the price now, because the price could go up in the future. It could also go down in the future. So you may want to check in and see where the pricing is. If you want to see the pricing, there's actually a tool. I'll share my screen and show where you can see the pricing. Akash Lytics is our one of our top partners, and let's see if I can share that screen as well. So
another question is, how do we know, or is there a risk that some of this may be on one of these service providers that disagrees with the idea of packet crypt and just wants to block everything? So how do we know?
Certainly, again, it's up to those providers to make their own decisions about what their terms and conditions are. So certainly, a provider could decide that they want to shut down their services, and you won't be charged for that. So if they decide to shut down their miner, your deposit gets returned, and you can just simply go redeploy on a new provider. But I can tell you that the Akash network is full of very crypto. Obviously, because we're a crypto company, we have very crypto-friendly server provider or cloud hosting providers.
So I mean, a lot of people
won't be kicked off for being a PKT miner.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are obviously asking about the thing with Hetzner, and what they did in particular was they allowed everybody to keep using the service, but they literally blocked access to the pools, so you could use it, it just didn't work. And so I think that's what people are going to be concerned about. Like, what happens if I buy an Akash lease and then I go to use it and it just doesn't work? So can you speak to that a little bit?
If it doesn't work, you would monitor your wallet, and immediately, and if it's not working, you should shut down that deployment and figure out what's wrong with it. It's most likely not the provider blocking IP addresses. It's most likely something wrong in your configuration. So I wouldn't assume that the provider is doing that on our network, because for someone to put for a provider to go and decide to deploy their servers on the Akash network, that they are very much a crypto-friendly company to do that, or a crypto-friendly host. So also, if a PKT miner had a lot of extra compute and they wanted to put it on the Akash network, they could. So if you have a bunch of hardcore machines in a data center with good bandwidth and you want to host others, you could actually put your provider on the Akash network you become a cloud provider for Akash. That said, I think the interest here, really, the profitability analysis, is that you can't mine AKT. AKT is really used to lease servers and services. It makes a lot of sense to use the unused compute that other people are providing, and you can find the price here, so you can keep track of that. And you can also see how many, if the price goes up, maybe you want to hold on to your existing leases. If the price goes down, maybe you want to also renew your leases. So you could cancel your lease at any time. You can simply click close lease. There's no terms that will prevent you from doing that. So you don't.
Yeah,
you're
that's a huge
into something that's gonna keep billing you. So
that's a huge benefit too, because all the cloud providers that I've been privy to, make you sign, a lease, and the best price is usually to buy a year, then you're locked in, or even if you are paying monthly, you're locked in. Then there's actually a lot of friction around canceling cloud. The example with Hetzner was actually a lot of friction of canceling your contract after they blocked it. So this is great because you can come online, you can, go offline as easy as a couple clicks. I mean, I just think it's fantastic. And then even people within the Packet ecosystem that maybe have their own equipment and are mining, you can superpower your equipment with an Akash deployment, right? You can actually mine into the exact same wallet. So let's say you have one wallet, you can deploy an Akash server and use the same wallet, and you'll just see your yields go up. A lot of people like to segregate their wallets so that they can see the individual yield relative to the server. So I actually do recommend that. But just the idea that you can kind of superpower, whatever equipment you may have at home, or if you're mining on a gaming machine, that now you could have multiple more cores without having to buy a new computer.
So yeah, this is pretty exciting that we're wanting to offer to the Packet Pal customers with the Packet Cube that we just created. That's an edge device for people's homes to be able to spin up Akash servers to supercharge their mining rigs. So it's super exciting to be able to collaborate.
So I wanna jump in here. This has been an awesome conversation. We've covered a lot of ground. Basically, all the questions that I had, you guys went over. So thank you for that. That was awesome. We've gotten a number of questions from the audience here today, and I want to try to run through as many of them as I can before our time runs out. If we can't get to your questions, definitely join. We put in a link to the Packet Telegram channel. You can always go to the Akash Telegram or Discord or our community forum channel. And we'll do our best to get through them there. So I'm going to go through a handful of the questions that have come in with the time we have left. So first off, I want to go to a guy named Matt R, who I think this is directed towards PKT folks. Long term, do you think that there is any risk of getting blocked, throttled, or blacklisted by your ISP for using so much consistent bandwidth? And in parentheses, they say gigabit plus.
Yeah, so the answer is yes, depending on what your ISP is, and that's kind of in the Packet vision, the Packet project vision. But the point is that if you're not able to mine on your regular end user residential ISP, you can go get a bigger line right to your house. And even if you think you can't, there are companies that will do that for you. It's expensive, but you can do it. But if your internet connection is paying you to use it, then it can actually be worth it to buy that big line and bring that big line in. And then where we can do the 1-2 punch is that once the Packet Cube is able to actually share internet with your neighbors, then they can start canceling their bad ISP and you're canceling the bad ISP, and everybody's getting off of this crappy ISP that won't let you mine because you brought in that big line into your community. And we have people doing that already, bringing fiber into their house, and that's bringing that capacity into that community, which is exactly what we're trying to do.
Let me just I want to clarify one thing though. The amount of bandwidth that's being used by a regular machine is not some ridiculous amount at the current time. So you're talking about somewhere between 10 megabytes to like 25 megabyte peak of bandwidth. So if you have a gigabit line, you're not going to be using even a fraction of what you have available. I think with Packet, a lot of people find out that you're actually being lied to by your ISP and they're not providing you the amount of sustained bandwidth that you're paying for. And they'll tell you that, it's something wrong with your router, or the network condition in that moment. But yeah, you're mostly being lied to. We kind of use the analogy of a gym membership, where they sell everyone a gym membership, but if everyone was using the gym 24/7, like, the gym would be a disaster. So that's kind of how the internet is set up today, especially with residential deployments. So you're not going to have a problem from your home right now. Now, running a pool is a completely different thing, because there's so much bandwidth being moved around, and that's something that you most likely just cannot do from your home to any great effect. So that would be a different example. But in terms of announcement mining, you won't have any issues doing it from home. Been doing it for years, and no problems at all.
And also, just one last
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna, I'll be really quick. The last little piece of that is that, using your bandwidth isn't illegal. There are people, the ISPs are selling bandwidth. So if your home internet isn't efficient enough to mine, then you can get a business line maybe, and that would be able to give you the capacity. And so it's really about incentivizing people to upgrade their infrastructure at the edge.
Cool. Thank you for that. We have another question that has popped in, and this is for Colin. Actually, you may be more familiar with this than I am, so we can maybe ask for a follow-up to this. But is Akash integrating with RNDR for GPU workloads? Oh, you're muted, Colin.
We certainly are going to have GPU support in the future, but we don't have it today. So PKT is actually a really good project to mine on Akash, because it's very CPU focused. And so CPU mining is profitable on Akash. GPU mining, we don't have that GPU support. I'm not familiar with that project off the top of my head. I haven't seen it, but feel free to ping me on Discord or Discourse. Go to forum.akash.network and feel free to ask the question there. We are certainly open to running any miner. So if you had a different CPU mining that you wanted to do, you could do that on Akash. We just selected PKT because, well, A, we like this team, and B, we saw that it was profitable to do on Akash, which I think is a big benefit. A lot of miners are running at a loss, and so running on Akash makes it successful for them. We want to promote that and bring them on board to Akash.
So I would just comment to hurry up and get the GPU support, because the reason why Packet is not GPU friendly is basically because it's a research problem to get this algorithm working on a GPU. So there's a lot of people thinking about it, looking at it, trying to see if there's something they can do.
I think also, I think to the point we were talking about earlier, it's something that you have to go and test out. So if you're wondering if we can do something, I would certainly encourage you to go try it and see if it works on Akash. If it's GPU mining, it's not going to be it's not going to be very effective, because we don't have GPU support. But that said, if there's anything else that you want to try to mine, feel free to go mine it and then share your results on the forum, so we can all gain from that knowledge that you gain. So I encourage everyone to go check out the guide on how to deploy a PKT miner on Akash using, or try out Akash Lease, which is the website I was just showing you with the pricing. And that will help you. They actually have a deploy tool on there that I was demoing earlier. So I wanted to give a shout out to them for building a awesome, easy to use graphical user interface. So you don't need to learn how to code in order to run a miner, and you don't even need to use the command line to run these miners. So that's an important thing that I think we've made it a lot easier for folks to do. So I'm hoping to release a video this weekend about how to do that all in a GUI without having to do command line.
That's awesome.
Cool. Thank you, Colin. We probably have time for maybe 2 more questions. This first one up is going to be pretty quick. I just want to ask it because I think this person's screen name is maybe my favorite screen name of the day. It's Night Fury MD, so I'm assuming his name is maybe Dr. Night Fury. Does Akash have plans to make deployments on a USD basis rather than AKT to avoid fluctuations?
Yes and no. We don't have I don't have any timeline or roadmap information to share with you, but definitely I think the key to handling payments is to make our payment our pricing structure automatically adjust based on the price of AKT. And so I think we're pretty close to that. And I think providers, we just need to assist providers with making it such that the price is more stable. We saw that as we had a lot of PKT miners come onto the network, the price fluctuated up, and now it's fluctuating back down. The price of running on Akash. The price of AKT at the same time just happened to be increasing in the last couple of days. So the pricing needs to change on the provider based on that price. And so we can stabilize the price for compute by doing that. So we don't necessarily need a separate token to do that. The AKT token can be used to do that. It's just showing and displaying that price in real time, or at least near real time, to show people what they're about to pay for a lease. Because obviously, like, you buy your AKT in advance and then you strike a lease. So it also matters to you what you paid for your AKT. So again, a cool thing about Akash is you set the price you want to pay. So you're never going to pay more than the amount that you set in your deployment file. So
cool. Thank you, Colin. And I think this will wrap up my audience questions. The ones we couldn't get to, I apologize, but definitely jump into our different channels and we'll do our best to get to them later today or this weekend. So this one comes from, I believe it's BWLnet. It's BWLnet. If we put PKT miners in our homes, does using a VPN save PKT miners from being blocked by an ISP?
This is an ancient question. Can you obfuscate the data so that it's not obvious that it is what it is? And in many cases, you can. Now, in some cases it'll work, in some cases it won't. The fact of the matter is that data is data. If you're sending a lot of data through that link, they know it, because the data has to go through the link, whether it goes to your VPN provider or whether it goes to the mining pool. But sometimes it ends up being a bit of a cat and mouse game, where sometimes you maybe get ahead and then sometimes they'll get ahead. But old problem, and the answer is sometimes.
Yeah, and I just want to add one thing. Like, the reason that Hetzner blocked the traffic is not because people are announcement mining on Hetzner. The reason they blocked it is because there were people running multiple pools on Hetzner. And so we're talking about, incredible inbound and outbound traffic, tens of thousands of cores. So you running a 24 core, even 100 cores out of your home, you're going to be using a fraction of your available bandwidth, even if you have like a 250 or 500 megabit line. So I wouldn't worry at all about at this current moment, getting blocked by your ISP. The only thing I would worry about is if you are on a data cap with your server provider, then you're going to have potentially some issues there. So, you will be using a lot of your pipe, and it's consistent. You're using it every second of every day when you're mining Packet, and Packet definitely, uses the, as much as it can, and uses it consistently. It's a consistent throughput. So those are just factors to take into consideration, but I don't believe any of those factors are going to get you blocked. And, I've been mining on multiple ISPs for years and never had an issue even once, not even remotely.
Yeah, gamers are using more bandwidth than home packet miners right now. So,
yeah, without a doubt.
They're not shutting you down.
As a gamer, I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. With that, guys, I think we're going to wrap up our live stream for the day. I appreciate all of you for jumping on. For folks watching at home, how can they get in touch with you? What channels would you guys prefer? Maybe we'll go to Colin first. Oh, you're muted.
you guys should all join forum.akash.network. I'm very responsive on there. You're welcome to call me out at Colin Paulin. I'm happy to support you guys there. I'm also on Discord, but it's always a challenge to respond to a lot of messages. So Discord is the place where you can get support, and it's scalable. We've got all of our engineers, CTO and CEO will respond to you. Chalabi's on there every day too. So.
And let's go to Chalabi. What's the best way to get in touch with you, Chalabi?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Chandra Station. You can hop in our Discord and ask questions there as well. We like all our delegators. And I'm on the discourse too. I'm on there every day, whether it's talking to people on the cab or just supporting people with their questions.
Yeah, and for Packet, you can go to pkt.cash/community, and you can find all the various different socials to contact us. We're active on Telegram. We actually have a server called packet.chat that you can also come into. That's where you'll find all the technical support. We actually just route all of our technical traffic to packet.chat. That's actually like the website. And then you can find us from the community page in Discord, Telegram, Twitter, etc.
Terrific. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate it. This was an awesome conversation. I think we covered a lot of ground today. Colin already mentioned some of the channels you can get a hold of Akash on. You can go to our Twitter, Discord, our community forum, and we'll do our best to connect with you there. And then finally, I would definitely suggest I will reiterate going to our forum. There's a lot of great conversations happening there. We're putting up a lot of interesting challenges, hackathons, all sorts of cool stuff happening with the Akash community at forum.akash.network. Other than that, I want to thank you all again for joining. Thank all of our attendees from around the world. I was seeing names coming from all over the world. So thank you all for joining. And other than that, we'll plan on seeing you at the next one. See you later, guys.
Take care. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Peace.
Thanks.